leadership. We call this, when it comes to the role of leadership, we call it Sifatul Kibar. Shakhsiyat with Kibar al-Shakhsiyat. These are people who might not be known to the society, but with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they have a higher position. Sifatul Kibar, or the leadership roles, which is required for every Muslim to understand from the principles of the Qur'an. This is what I'm going to touch a few things in it today. And the stories that we're going to be using is, بالمناسبة, the story of عليه السلام, Sulaiman عليه السلام, and the Malika al-Bilqis, في قصة سورة النمل. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions the first principle of leadership when He mentions the story of Sulaiman alayhi salam. He says, وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا. وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا. This is the first principle when it comes to the role of leadership. What does وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا means? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَقَدْ, indeed. The word lam here and the qad is to emphasize. Allah is taking an oath. وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا. We have given Sulaiman, Dawood wa Sulaiman. So leadership role sometimes might not be something that you have went for it, selected yourself and campaigned for it. It's something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives. وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا. If this role of leadership comes to you, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen you for a particular reason. So sometimes it not be that you are going to campaign democratically elected. That might not be the truth. People do not know your inner thoughts. People do not know your intention for campaigning for this principle. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala يطلع على قلوبهم. Allah knows the hearts of the people. وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا. We have given them the role of responsibility. And every one of you, brothers, including me and you, we are king in one place. You might be out of position right now, but you are a king in a particular place. When I say a king, is a ra'i, a responsible person. Allah has given you duties to fulfill. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made you ra'i, responsible, whether it might be your family members, maybe you are a manager or a leader in a particular place. This role that you have been given requires you to fulfill. The honor and the dignity is when you actually complete the task. The knowledge that you have means nothing to us. You being responsible of our affairs means nothing to us until we see a productivity that you have made some changes. You might be responsible of a madrasa or a masjid, or maybe responsible in the local councils here. It means you being there means nothing to us. Me, I want to get to the masjid without the potholes on the roads. I want to come to the masjid. Since you're a manager, I want to come to the masjid and find the masjid to be a place of prayer, a place where it's been looked after. But you being a responsible, having that title, means nothing to me. That is the first principle. It comes with the next one is, when you have been given this role, it comes with ikhlas. The role for you as a person, you have to do this with intention to gain reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It has to be with ikhlas. It has to be with the ikhlas, the sincerity that you are doing this for the sake of Allah. Don't care about the title. That you find, some of you might have noticed, people who are not supposed to be in the position, they are the ones that care about more of the title than the responsibility that is within the title. You tell them, Akhi, this is something wrong. Wallahi, ikhwani fillah, I'm not going to pray. A place I was praying, the imam was making mistakes in the salah. And then when I corrected, he said, Akhi, my people don't know it. Don't correct me. You know it, don't tell them. Speak to me outside in the car park when we leave the position. The salah, Akhi, this is a mas'uliyah. And he's like, no, akhi. But obviously that's not something I was going to do, so therefore halfway, he left the position. He was like, no, I can't carry on with you being here. I can't carry on. And some people, they care about the title more than the duty and the responsibility. Nasallahu salamatu. The same applies to when it comes to you being a father figure in the house. You care about what your parents or the community, the criticism might come within this, and then you hold on to this family life, which you're not going to fulfill the responsibility. You're not going to do this. And then therefore, you destroy the society. The kids are in horrible position. The wife is in a difficult position. And same applies to the sisters as well. Same applies. So the first thing, it should be al-ikhlas. You're doing this for the sake of Allah. If you are doing it for the sake of Allah and you actually are a person who's befitting in this category, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you. And the second thing, and the sifat that you need to have, and the sifat and attribute which you need to have is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the same surah, He says, we gave Sulaiman alayhi salam ilman, وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا دَاوُودَ وَسُلَيْمَانَ عِلْمًا. Allah says, وَوَرِثَ سُلَيْمَانُ دَاوُودَ. The kingship, the prophethood, he inherited from this. But we gave them knowledge. Al-ilm, knowing the role and the responsibility that lies within this position is very important. Ikhwani fillah. A person might read the surah to Al-Mutaffifin. Waylun lil-Mutaffifin. Allah says, Waylun lil-Mutaffifin. الذين إذا اكتالوا على الناس يستوفون وإذا كالوهم أو وزنوهم يخسرون. That some, he mentioned, wail is for them, he says. Al-Mutaffif is a person, he says, it defined it in the ayah. وَيْلٌ لِلَّذِينَ إِذَا اكْتَالُوا. When they do measurement for you, يستوفون. They take a full measurement. You go to the shop, the grocery, give me 2 kilos of this meat. He will give you the bones and the fat that you're not going to eat. He's going to give you, but when he's going to the other shops to get the meat, he is going to be specific. Like, I want this one, the buttock here, just the food. And then some cheaper version, he's going to collect it from the shop for a discounted price, but he's going to sell it to you, same price as the meat that he bought. الَّذِينَ إِذَا اكْتَالُوا is a whale, the valley is for them. Same principle applies when it comes to mu'amalat, when it comes to dealing. You are employed in a particular place. You have been employed. You've been paid an hour. If you come half an hour late on purpose, not because of an accident or something that happened on the road, الَّذِينَ إِذَا اكْتَالُوا. You want the full measurement, you want the full salary when it comes to the end of the month. But you have been inconsistent with your arrival. You have been inconsistent with attending. That money is not halal for you. If you become mutaffif in your hours, become mutaffif in the time that you have given the responsibility that has been due on you, whether it's a family member. Ikhwani fillah, this is very important. You don't become a mutaffif. You know the role, you have full knowledge of your responsibility, so you don't end up in this category. The second thing the third thing that applies to you is al-amana, trustworthiness. And this is sifa that any leader, anyone who is going to take a role needs to have. Ikhwani fillah, you are trusted in a particular job. This is something Islam teaches you. In the Qur'an you see, alayhi salam, in the same story, قال عفريت من الجن أنا آتيك به قبل أن تقوم من مقام. Ifrit, at the end of this story, in Sulaiman's story in Surah Al-Naml, he will say, who can bring me them? The arsh, the throne of Bilqis. And then he says, Ifrit, one of the jinn, the knowledgeable, I will bring it to you before you go out, get up from this majlis. وَإِنِّي عَلَيْهِ لَقَوِيٌّ. I'm a strong al-amin. He says, I am a strong person, I am capable of fulfilling this duty, and I am a trustworthy. And you know the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was known as al-amin in his Jahiliyyah time, before Islam, before the Qur'an was revealed to him. Amana is important. This is between you and Allah. The Ra'i, Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu anhu, when Ibn Umar came to the one who was looking after the animals, he says to him, can we have some of the milk? Can we have some of the meat of this goat? And the Ra'i said to him, Wallahi, it's not mine. I'm looking after on behalf of someone. I'm looking after on behalf of someone. And then he said, just tell him a wolf ate this. And the Ra'i said to him, what would I say to Allah? Yeah, I can tell that to the owner of these goats, but what would I say to Allah? Abdullah ibn Umar purchased the animals as well as the man and gave him. And he said, the kalima that saved you, the amana, the trustworthiness that saved you in this dunya will save you inshallah in the akhirah. So al-amana is very important. Quwwatu al-qawiyyu al-amin. Number 4, in the same story, one of the most important things is that adamul ghafla, at-tayaqqud. You have to be vigilant in your responsibility. As long as you run this particular role, it's important that you never ever belittle anyone, whether it's the cleaner or whether it's the caretaker or whether it's the manager itself. You never become unaware of what's going on in your responsibility. Sulaiman alayhi salam, what happened? وَتَفَقَّدَ الطَّيْرُ. He's got the entire jinn, the animal kingdoms as a soldiers. But he noticed there was one particular bird missing. A bird, tiny, still exists. You can grab it with your hand. وَتَفَقَّدَ الطَّيْرُ فَقَالَ مَا لِي لَا أَرَى الْهُدْهُدْ. He said, why do I not see hudhud? Why do I not see hudhud? So this teaches us that when you are in the position of responsibility, that you take it seriously. You do not say someone is missing today, he hasn't showed up. If you watch some of the documentaries, someone who's vigilant, who's a leader, you notice that if someone who normally comes for jobs doesn't show up, they send the police for a welfare check. Like, go to that person's house and see what happened to them. Usually that's not their habit. That's not their habit. So a strong leader will always be vigilant when it comes to the people he or she is looking after. Number 6, when it comes to leadership, the sifa that you might need to have is that at-tawadu. You are humble always. You are always humble when you're dealing with people. Never that you see yourself as a leader. A leader is a person, he is a murabbi. He leads people. Where they say manager, he manages items and buildings. That's a manager. And a boss is a person who dominates everyone. So leader is a person who leads people. You lead people with your tawadu, with your humbleness. You lead people in humbled. When the birds came back and said to Sulaiman says, لَأُعَذِّبَنَّ, I will punish this bird. Why is it missing? The bird came back and said, أَحَطُّ بِمَا لَمْ تُحِطْ بِهِ وَجِئْتُكَ. He says, I have gained a knowledge that you do not know. So knowledge elevates people. Knowledge itself elevates people. So the birds now is speaking to a king. Say, I'm more knowledgeable than you. So Sulaiman alayhi salam, tawada'a, he became so humble. What did he reply to? Sananzuru asadaqta. We will see this. He never said, okay, that's not good enough excuse. That's not what I want you to be doing. You're supposed to be in this military form, in the army. He didn't say that. He said, Sananzur. We will see you matters. And then, number 7, things that you might require also as a leader is al-hikmah, wisdom. You have to come out with a means of understanding the situation. That's why Sulaiman alayhi salam, he says to her, to the bird, idhhab bi kitabi, take my book, take this book, and I will see what comes back from this. أقول ما تسمعون وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين من كل ذنب استغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين صلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. I could continue with this one, and even the qissa to Bilqis is far even greater. And also, if you want to know the true leadership, which even the kuffar, they write about it, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Some of you might say, I can't do, this is the Prophet of Allah, this is too hard. You read the Salaf, the story of the predecessors. They also have fulfilled the roles of leadership. They have been leading the Ummah for many years. Ikhwani fillah. Just going to mention three other things with regards to the same story. The story which I recommend for everyone who is in a position of leadership to go, and it's 3 pages long. This whole story is 3 pages in the Qur'an. You go over it as a leader and look through the lenses of a leader. Look at this story. It contains so many benefits. Amongst the things that you benefit as a leader from the story is inzalun nasi manazilahum. You treat people according to their levels, with respect, of course, all of them. Inzalun nasi manazilahum. When the queen, Bilqis, the paper came to her, she didn't dismiss this paper. It had 2 sentences. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Allah ta'alu alayya wa'tuni muslimin. Innahu min Sulaiman wa innahu bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Allah ta'alu alayya wa'tuni muslimin. Very smart woman. That's why she was leading. Very intelligent woman. Her story is very important for women nowadays to be, because they run the roles of leadership. Yeah? It's a story of Bilqis, the Malakat al-Saba, is important for everyone, especially for our sisters. So when the matter came to her, 2 sentences. Innahu is from Sulaiman. It says, from Sulaiman, in the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. Come to me as a Muslimin. Do not make yourself big. That's all he said. She called the people. She never, this woman, very intelligent, steals the brain of others to run the show, to run her kingdom. As a leader, this is something that you need to do. You don't do everything through your own limited mind. There might be someone, Salman al-Farisi, he will tell you, oh, this is what we used to do in our country. This is what we need to do. So she said, Ya ayyuhal mala, oh my ministers, aftuni fi amri. She said, give me fatwa for this. Give me verdict on this. I have a letter from Sulaiman. Inni ulqiya ilayya kitabun kareem. Aftuni fi amri ma kuntu qadi'atan amran hatta tashhadun. And this is the other point, which is ashura. Very important that a person does shura always. He or she creates a majlis al-shura when he's a leader, people that he considers to be a close allies in the same mission, not a hasif, an envious